I'm Robert. I'm a proud member of Social Service Employees Union Local 371, and I'm here to encourage all of the conductors and tower operators within the local transit union to vote for John Ferretti for the executive board position. So why is someone from another union giving you this message? I think the main reason is because John's campaign exemplifies the kind of unionism I think this country needs and that the working class movement needs. A unionism that stands not just for fighting for people within the union, but the social justice struggles outside of the union. I think, John, your campaign within the union to get them involved in the Black Lives Matter movement, especially around the campaign for justice for Eric Garner, was a very good example of that. And we could think about something more recent with the election of Trump and the mass outrage against his election. We were down at the inauguration, and you made considerable efforts to get your coworkers to come down, and the day after as well at the Women's March, where we were fighting against Trump's racist attitude, sexist attitude towards women, as well as his racist attitude of law and order, where he said he's going to crack down on the inner cities, and his threats to build a wall and deport people. This was very important, and I think it's why I would support your candidacy unabashedly. I think one thing that's interesting to find out is, why do you think people within the union should be able to not just support your candidacy, but support the struggles of people outside of the union?
Okay. Well, I think that it's important for transit workers to support those struggles because it's what's right, but also because it's smart for our own struggles to have the kind of support and solidarity from other workers that sees us fighting for more than just ourselves, and it makes all of our struggles more successful. I think that these are our own communities under attack, and the attacks that are successful against one section of the working class are going to be successful against the whole working class. I mean, a lot of the consequences that transit workers face in terms of a racist, sexist employer are not that far from the sexism and racism coming out of the White House. They're the same class. They think just alike. And all of their solutions are about raining down terror and abuse and intimidation upon our class. And one of the ways we can fight back against that is to empower ourselves. But transit workers don't need to just empower themselves, but to empower all workers to show the power of our whole class, because it's all of them against one section of us. It always is. They always use that divide and conquer. And just like Trump, they use racism to pit us against each other. And the best defense always is solidarity and unity and struggle that points the way to a different kind of world, a world without the Trumps, a world without the Cuomos, a world without Wall Street parasites feeding off us and turning everything into shit. Our world can be much better than it is, but we gotta be the class that decides how that world is created.
Right. And so as far as the transit workers go, then, is there any particular struggle they're facing now with which the public can relate?
Well, sure. I mean, I think that the public can relate to the attack on Tier 6 because Tier 6 is a statewide attack. It's not only in New York State, it's all over the country. They've been attacking working class pensions. They're even attacking Medicaid. Right. They're attacking our own communities with fare increases. And all of this is a pretext. All of this is a pretext to, one, blame public sector workers for everything, and two, attack the most vulnerable in society with racist stop and frisk. And the fare increase and stop and frisk are like that because they can't exist without each other. One's a pretext for the other. And that had the union stepped up and been really against the fare increase in the first place, and had really made common cause with other workers being attacked on the Tier 6, we could have built the strength and unity to make those things not happen. But because there was a vacuum of leadership, and because our leaders encouraged us to hope that some section of the ruling class was going to save us, those attacks were successful. And that's how the Republicans and Democrats work, to make sure the attacks are successful. They have different strategies, but they're the same.
So John, I hear you saying then that these movements for social justice can be that much stronger if the labor movement gets involved.
Yes.
How then do these movements strengthen the union?
Well, I mean, I think that they strengthen the union because the union right now is isolated from those struggles. And if it wasn't isolated from those struggles, both struggles could be a lot stronger. I mean, for example, now they're debating the end of trade unions in this country, both in the Supreme Court and in the Congress of the United States. When we have a target on our back, when we're isolated, and unionized workers are 10% of the economy. I mean, we have to wake up to the fact that we're not going to win unless all workers are in the same fight together. We have to fight for ununionized workers. We got to fight for immigrant workers. We have to fight for those being profiled and stopped and frisked because they're the future of the working class. And fundamentally, if they don't believe in unions, if they don't believe that it's possible to fight back, they're going to accept the world that Trump and everybody else has laid out for them, the Cuomos of the world. And we have a much brighter future if we stand and fight together.
Okay, so I like that vision of the unified struggle, and that's why I support your candidacy for the executive board.